Hello, welcome to today's reading vlog. I'm going to be reading a bunch of fall books in this vlog. So let me show you them. There actually might be more than this that I add on. First we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I did start reading this one, so I'm just going to like continue it in this video. I'm at the beginning though. I have not read that much of it, but just enough to like kind of know the premise. Hellbent, Leigh Bardugo. I'm pretty sure it's just a duology. I got these books partly because I just love Leigh Bardugo's writing. I've read like The Six of Crows, Shadow and Bone. I loved both of them. Six of Crows is like one of my all-time favorite books. That is also a duology, so I have a good feeling about this book, but it is like an adult book. So there are some like different sort of themes in here that I think are a bit more intense, so I've kind of been afraid to read it. But then I saw these covers and like it literally like it's iridescent, like this snake. It's just like, it's so pretty, and the sprayed edges, I just feel like they're beautiful. So I did buy them and now I'm gonna read them. Another book I want to read is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake, I think. I loved Atlas 6 or The Atlas 6 from Olivia Blake. I literally just processed that this is another Leigh Bardugo book. I feel like, okay, I knew that, but like I wasn't thinking about it when I came to like talk about all these books, and it is called The Familiar. It's so pretty. All of these fall books are so pretty. These books, definitely dark academia taking place at Yale, if I'm remembering correctly, and there's like a dark secret society. And then One for My Enemy is like, I'm getting like Romeo and Juliet vibes. I think that's what was said, or like that's what it's supposed to be about, but not really Romeo and Juliet. There's like different families and like gang sort of situation. I wanted to give a little update on Ninth House because I did start reading it and I'm like 30-something% through. I was listening to audiobooks. Let me see where I'm on chapter 9. I think this book would be hitting like, okay, wait, it's really good so far, but I think that it'd be hitting completely different if it was like raining and stormy right now, which it has been kind of getting cloudy, but this is like a sunny day. Like the vibes outside are not matching the book, but the book is so interesting so far. I'm a big like character person. Like I love character development. I love to like feel connected to the characters and just to like different relationships and like friendships. However, I feel like the main character, Alex, is such like a lone wolf, like because her life, like that's kind of just where events in her life have brought her. She's alone a lot and it's like understandable, but it feels like I haven't really gotten to see those connections with other people. The one that I'm like the most interested in is hers with Darlington. The secret society in Yale, they're trying to like they do like weird stuff with the dead. Like they could take this elixir where they can like kind of see the dead. However, our main character, Alex Stern, can already see the dead, and that's why they kind of like brought her into Yale. Darlington is like first upset that it's her because he feels like, you know, she doesn't really deserve it. Where I'm at right now, it's like he's starting to get to understand Alex better. She has like a lot of things that she doesn't really tell anybody, which again, understandable for her character. He's like in present time because it keeps flashing back to where like Darlington's showing her the ropes and everything, and they kind of have a little bit of a like, they get along, but like they don't really like each other per se in the beginning, but I feel like they're slowly forming some sort of friendship, but I'm just like not that deep into it yet. So it keeps flashing back to that, flashbacks to Darlington showing her around when she first came there, and flashbacks to, or flash forward to the present where he's gone and we like don't know where he went. Also, we don't know like how their relationship ended up. Like, are they friends? Are they more than friends? Do they still kind of not like each other? Like we just don't know any of that, but we do know that she like misses him, or like she wants him to be back.
I'm starting to feel away. No, we were not strings attached. Maybe we could take that back, make it what it isn't. I wanna be with you. We just get along so well. Want you, baby, to my side. You know we get together, but we pass it up. I think I want forever. Maybe we found some luck. Maybe we found some love.
I was intending to be done reading, but then I picked it up again and I kept reading. And like shortly after that, something really sad has happened. So I really just don't like crying right before I go to sleep because I just did all my skincare, but that was such a sad twist. Holy. Reading update. I just finished Ninth House. I didn't even really mean to finish it like that, but I just like got to the end and I was like, that's the end. So this book is just like good. You know when like a book, you just know it was a good book. I loved reading it. There were like a couple of times where I got slightly bored, but overall very good writing and a very interesting story, especially towards the end. It started getting so interesting because I was like, okay, one, where the heck did Darlington go? And then you start getting all these theories because of stuff that's happening with the characters. And towards like the middle end, you start to get to know these side characters a lot more, and that made it so much much more enjoyable. There is a big element of mystery in this book, and it was just so fun to read about, but also like definitely spooky in a kind of grotesque way. Like it's for sure fall vibes and like Halloween feeling. So definitely I feel like I'm reading it at the right time. It's almost October. I was listening to the end on the audiobook and I got to like the interview with the author, and it just reminded me like why I love her and her writing so much. And apparently like all this stuff like it actually blew my mind, because there actually are secret societies in Yale, and like these are real societies, and I had no idea. And there's like buildings that are talked about are real in Yale. It like it's actually crazy to me. Like it makes me want to just tour old like schools. It just shocks me. Like it just actually shocks me that there's like secret societies like this, and I don't even know. Like I want to know more. Like I want to watch, like, can there be a documentary about this, because it's so interesting. I just couldn't believe like she's talking about it. Like I know that schools like that have secret societies, but like hearing her talk about it and like reading about, I mean, I'm sure like a darker story in this book, I would hope. I mean, this also has like magic in it and stuff like that, but just like reading about it makes me so interested to actually know what is going down in those secret societies. This was like a joy to read. It really was emotionally like hitting. Also, huge plot twists, more than one. There's like a bunch, because it's a mystery, so you're like, there's just a bunch of pieces and everything's like unraveling, and I cannot wait. It left off on such an intense, it left off on the part that I was waiting for throughout like the entire book. That's where it left off. So that was crazy, and now I know what the heck is going on with so many things. So yeah, just a warning, it is a bit scary. Also though, I feel like I was so afraid, because like a lot of people warned me about this book, and it does have some really dark topics. Like I said, please look up trigger warnings, because there is some crazy stuff that happens in this. I don't think I had to be as intimidated as I was, and I always think that when I read a book. There's only like a few books where I'm like, yeah, I was right to be scared. I'm like completely okay, you know what I mean? Like I enjoyed it. It was good. Now I kind of have a hard time rating this one, because maybe my opinion will change by the end of me reading this in this vlog, I don't know, but it was just so good. And especially my problem is like I got kind of bored in the first half. Some parts of it I was like tuned into it, but then some parts I was bored. So that's kind of where I'm like iffy, because part of me wants to give it like a 5 stars, because it was just like such a good book and it was so well written. So I think I'm gonna give it like a 4 points. I think I'll rate it for my enjoyment level, I guess 4.7, because I enjoyed it. Like I really did enjoy it, and I had a good time reading it, and I'm just so like tuned into the fantasies right now. It is just giving me everything that I need it to be giving me. So yeah, I love this. I'm about to go to sleep. I'm in bed currently, but I've just continued listening to Hellbent. I haven't really had time to like just sit down and read it, but I want to give a little update on what's going on in it so far. It's harder to do this for the second book, because the premise is like a spoiler for the first book, so I'm not gonna like say any of that. I am just so interested in the romance at this point, and I feel like I'm just waiting. Oh, another thing, I found out it's gonna be, it's actually a trilogy. I thought this was the last book. No, which is kind of upsetting, because I got those matching, like those are like special edition. Like I thought I had completed it already, but like, and now I'm gonna have to get another one. I don't even know if they're gonna have that. So yeah, really interested in the romance. And then also the like, there's almost like a found family forming, and it's really solidifying in this book, which makes me so happy, because I just love a good found family. And I really love, like, there's a specific character, Turner, and I love him because that's like one of my favorite characters in a found family, is like the stoic, he's like a stoic like authority person. Like he works in the law, he's a detective. I could have just said that. I just love those types of characters, like in contrast with the other characters. I just feel like it's always so fun to read. I'm kind of wondering if he's gonna end up with someone else in the books. Like I'm just really trying to predict all the different relationships right now. I'm having a great time. It's really good. I'm enjoying this one maybe a little bit more than the first one, or equally. I think a little bit more, because I just know everything that's going on and it jumps straight into the action at this point. So it's just been so much fun. I feel like it's just gonna be a super slow burn, and I don't even know if I'm gonna get anything. I don't know if I'm gonna get anything that I really want to happen in the second book. Like maybe like hints at it, but I just want them to be together. I'm a romance girl. I'm a romance fantasy girl, and it's like a big part of what I like to read. Like especially if you're like teasing me with a romance, like please give me a romance. Like I need it. It's like my sustenance. It's like my nutrients and food supply. I need to be fed. So I really hope that that happens soon, and that's really all I can think of to say about that book right now. But I'm just gonna continue listening to it, I think, unless I hear something that I want to like highlight the quote or something. I know I literally have the physical copy of the books, but it's like when you don't really have that much time to be sitting down and reading, it's so nice to have the option of listening to the audiobook, so I like to do both. Also, I'm listening to them on Libby, the library app, so it's free. And that is always a plus. I did have to wait for them though. Fantasma is my buddy read book. It's supposed to be really spooky, but also really romantic, which honestly, like, I think I'm gonna start reading it while I'm still listening to the audiobook of Hellbent, not at the same time. I'm not that crazy, but like, I'm gonna sandwich them, you know? And I'm actually kind of happy about that because since I'm craving romance so much, like, I know that book is going to give it to me, like, right away, I think. I do love a slow burn. Just sometimes I'm like, okay, give me romance right now. So I'm just trying to be patient. Did I look up fan art so that I could maybe get a spoiler that they're gonna be together in this book? Yes. And I will not say what I found. You could probably gather it. That being said, there's so many interesting like parts of this story. I love it so much, and it's such a good time for me to be reading it because it's spooky. It's so spooky. But luckily, like, okay, for like the Good Girl's Guide to Murder books, for example, that's like a YA mystery. I get scared if I'm like listening to that or reading it before bed. But these books, I don't get scared. I don't know why, but it's like, because usually I'm the opposite. Usually like the other type of stuff scares me, like the impossible, can't actually happen in real life stuff scares me, which also doesn't make sense, but like it's not scaring me. I do hope I don't have any like themed dreams from this. The only dream I would like is if it was just like a romance dream, okay? I don't want any like Ninth House or Hellbent themed dreams.
Am I crazy for trying when I'm crazy for you? Am I crazy for trying when I'm crazy for you? When I'm crazy for you. Am I crazy for trying when I'm crazy for you? Maybe it's crazy, I love you.
I am about halfway through Fantasma. I actually have been reading it on my Kindle because I didn't know that it was on Kindle Unlimited. It is so good. When I was reading that, especially when I really started to get into it, I feel like I just got so sucked into the world. I'm trying really hard not to just like go ahead and read more because I've had a little bit more time lately, and I'm buddy reading it, so I kind of have to go a little, you know, like we're trying to like be at the same pace. But like sometimes I'll be reading less and I'll be like, oh my god, I have to read more. But right now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I cannot stop reading. I just turned the AC off in my car and it's about to get so hot. I was trying to do this on a day when it's cold, but I just feel like it's not getting cold fast enough, and I want to do this in the month of October. I want to read in my car for just like a little bit. This happens to be probably like one of the hottest days of the week. The last time I was talking on here, I was talking about Fantasma. I just finished it last night. That book was so good. Like, I love it so much. It's such a good fall book to read. The ending was crazy. Like, okay, so I did kind of guess the ending, but I didn't guess it like exactly. There's a little twist within it. There is going to be a second book, and it's going to be about the main girl's sister, and I'm really excited about that. So the end of this story, like, it really was kind of like the end of their story, I believe. Like, it really felt like I got closure in it, which is great because I really don't like when I have to wait for another book. Like, it's great, especially when they're already out, but I'm just so happy because the second one's not out yet, so I'm happy that it's not like a continuation of their story. If I did have like one thing to critique about Fantasma, it's that at the end, I feel like the resolution was kind of interesting because like it happened so fast. Like, it felt a little bit rushed. Like, it felt like a quick switch of things happening so fast, and there was just like, it just happened in a second. Okay, moving on to the next book that we're going to be reading, which actually I don't really know. Oh yeah, also I have not finished Hellbent yet. It is not because it's not good though. It is because I just have not had time to sit down, and that one I don't have like, well, I do have the audiobook of it actually. I don't know, I guess I wanted like more romance like right away, which I know I kind of talked about on here a little bit. So when I started reading Fantasma, it was really giving me that, and I just haven't been reading Hellbent, but I do need to keep reading it. I kind of spoiled part of it for myself, so that's on me. But I will not be reading the rest of that one in the car. I will definitely be finishing it in this video, but I will not be reading it in the car because I have my Kindle with me. So I'm gonna find like a fall book to read on my Kindle. I want to look up if this one book that I saw online is fall-ish, because if it is, that would be perfect because I've kind of been wanting to read that one. I want to read something that's fast and easy to read, that you just get sucked into. I don't want to read anything like even a little bit academic right now. I just want it to be fully just entertainment.
Maybe it's crazy, I do. Maybe it is, but I'll live with it. If it means I'll have you. If we could be together, I'm set shit. Every song about you on my set list. All of my friends wanna hear about us.
Okay, so I tried, but nothing will load. I'm just gonna go inside. I tried. I'll do it next time. I'll do it when it's like raining or something, and maybe it will work then. Hey, okay, so I want to do a little update about the books that I'm reading for this video. One of them is Hellbent, which I left off, not quite finished with it. I'm gonna do my makeup while I talk about them. I'm about to go to dinner, and I'm trying out a new foundation that I'm kind of excited about. It's like the House Labs one, so I'll just put it in here. I finished Hellbent. I don't know if I got the right color. I like picked out a color, and now I'm like not sure if I even actually grabbed the right one. I mean, it looks fine, but... So where it left off, because I was wondering, I think it is a trilogy, I was kind of wondering about that, but where this left off, like it definitely is not the end of the story. There are so many like plot twists or just things that I wasn't completely expecting. I also feel like I was confused part of the time, and that's why I wasn't expecting some of it, because I was just like, wait, that character exists? I forgot about them. I think that's also partly though because I was listening to it as an audiobook, because whenever I'm listening to it as an audiobook, I feel like things stick slightly less sometimes because I might be like doing something while I'm listening to it. I'm really learning right now that I'm not very good at multitasking because I cannot do this while I'm trying to talk about the book. I think I've said this before, but it's kind of hard to talk about Hellbent because if I talk about the premise of the second one, then it kind of gives away part of what happens in the first one. The romance that I really wanted, it's not there, but it's happening, like it's forming. So I think in the third book is when that might really start happening. That book is just so creative. Le Bardugo is so creative. They have like literal, in the second book, there's like literal demons haunting them. In the second book, it goes more in depth into like these characters. You kind of, I think you just like meet them a bit and see like a little bit of them in the first book, but it really just dives so much deeper into them in the second book. And the found family ended up being like my favorite part. So even though I rated the same, I like the second one more. So I should probably like fix that rating or something. But is there a way to like not have everyone updated like when I update something on Goodreads? Because I feel like it's kind of like, I don't want everyone to see me changing my rating, but you know, it happens. I didn't think that I was actually gonna get to One for My Enemy in this video, but I did, because I started reading that one and I was like a little bit bored of it, so I was like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna actually read the books from the TBR, or at least like keep on with it. I wasn't hooked in the beginning, but then when I kept on listening to it, I was very hooked. Now I'm very hooked and I'm like 50% of the way through. There are two opposing families and they're like witch families. They have powers. There's a family with a bunch of sisters and then there's a family with a bunch of brothers, or like 3 brothers, and the sisters have like more power. There's a rivalry between these two families, but there's like, okay, I don't want to say like the other stuff going on under the surface, but they used to be friends. But then when the book actually takes place, it's like years later and they're not on good terms anymore. Done with my makeup. I'm just really happy that all the books in this video so far have been good. I finished One for My Enemy. I didn't end up vlogging any of it, but don't worry, I'm definitely gonna vlog a lot of me reading the next book. I don't know what it is with me and vlogging myself reading lately, but like I just have not even thought of doing it. I really liked it and I think it was written well, but by the like middle end of it, I do feel like I was just so ready to read a book that's a little bit more straightforward. The writing in this book, and thinking back, it kind of reminds me of how it was in Atlas 6, where like, for example, like romance and like feelings towards the characters from other characters, even like different relationships in the book, they just aren't straightforward. Like they're told through like actions and internal monologue. Things just like aren't communicated. It is one of the reasons I also like her writing, because it's like not direct in the way that it's more so like poetic, and the story is like frustrating in a way that like, I mean, Romeo and Juliet is a frustrating story, and like this is like it and not like it in some ways, but I feel like it definitely got the frustrating bit down because I was just so frustrated. Like I feel like things were made harder than they had to be, like sacrifices were made that didn't have to be made, but that is exactly what Romeo and Juliet is. I did think that it was really beautiful, entertaining. I loved how there was like multiple storylines that we were following and not just like the main 2 people. My favorite character was definitely Lev and Sasha. They were some of the most entertaining characters in the entire book. I feel like I just want to feel more with my next read. I've already started The Familiar and I don't know. Like I don't know if this one is going to be what I need right now, because I feel like I almost need something that's like I know what I'm going in for and I like get what I want. But this book is like very Halloween vibes and it's like almost Halloween, so I feel like if I don't read this now, then I'm not going to be motivated to read it later, so I just want to read it now. Le Bardugo did say this was her like a romance forward book, but right now it's like setting the scene, so that's why it's kind of like taking its time. Hey, okay, so I'm sorry you're crooked. I don't know how to set this up on my wheel to where it's actually straight. There's a car next to me that has just like really dark tinted windows and I just don't know if anyone's in there, but I'm gonna push past that. I got coffee. I feel like to do this portion of the video where I'm in the car vlogging, I have to have some coffee with me. I got a bagel. I want to give a little update. I relocated to an area where I feel like there may be less people. My steering wheel is still crooked, so sorry. I wanted to give a little update because I am like 70 something, maybe like 80% through. It is pretty romance heavy. The main girl in it, she starts off as a servant, but then people find out that she has magic. So she ends up getting in a situation where she has to perform magic in front of people. She enters a competition. There is a romance with basically this like immortal guy who is cursed. It is really good so far though. I feel like it's going by really fast, but I also do feel slightly bored at times. I hope it's not tragic. Like I really don't want that. I want like a somewhat happy ending because it could really go like a multitude of ways right now. The inside of this has like a bunch of pomegranates in it and it's like so pretty. Which reminds me of the other book that I'm reading right now, and that is The Games Gods Play. I think that's what it's called. I was listening to it as an audiobook partly, but I do have the book at home and I'm gonna read it when I get home after I'm done with The Familiar, and it's really good so far. This girl gets chosen by Hades to compete in this competition, and she basically just has to like survive the trials, and more than one person can survive, but I think there's like only one winner. That one is super interesting so far, and I feel like I just don't want to stop reading it, so I'm kind of like going in between these two. I am near the end of both The Games Gods Play because I started listening to an audiobook, and whenever that happens, whenever like I start listening to an audiobook, it just goes by so fast because I'm just doing everything that I'm doing. I'm listening to an audiobook while I'm doing it, and so it's just like hours go by and it's on like not double speed, but like faster than it would usually be. If you liked Fourth Wing, I feel like you would like this. Also, if you like Greek mythology, she's in like sort of a school for thieves, and then she like randomly essentially gets drafted into this by Hades, and it's a game where she has to compete with all these other people. But yeah, the romance is with Hades and it's just so good. I'm just so invested, and I was worried that the romance was gonna get boring towards the end. Like I have that fear because I'm like, okay, well, if they get together then they urinate, like where is it? But luckily we have some, you know, issues happening that help it like stretch out. I don't want peace until the very end of the book, so that one's going great, and that's probably what I'm gonna read right now because I just really want to, even though it's Halloween, so reading The Familiar would make so much more sense. But guys, when I'm invested, I feel like I need to go with my mood. I don't always feel that into a book, and when I do, I just want to like hold on to it and keep it going. I'm about to go to sleep, but before I do, I just wanted to talk about the books. I already mainly updated you guys on everything, but I finished The Games Gods Play. I really liked it. I feel like I just needed something like this. It was almost like a palate cleanser, but it was really good. Like I'd recommend it to people. I think that the main thing I feel like could have been done differently is towards the end, there was like a disconnect between the MC and the love interest, which I liked because that always makes it interesting, and it was like towards the end. But I feel like the resolution to everything, and you know, where like the characters admit how they feel and like all that stuff, like parts of that were kind of rushed. Like I wish we would have almost gotten that sort of conversation before the big thing that happened. I am still reading The Familiar. I don't want to say too much, but basically things are like downhill right now. Like there's a rock bottom before the way up, and I hope that the MC is gonna have one of those moments where she like, you know, saves herself. I almost feel like I want more from the MC. Like I want to dig deeper into her character. She's in a different environment now than she was before, so I want to see like who she is in this new environment and like who she can be, because she has like powers, you know? Like I want to see her really take advantage of the fact that she has them and just like see what she does in this situation. Welcome to the last day of this video, because I only have one more book left and I have like barely any of it. I still haven't finished it even though I've been reading that one for so long. I think I've come to the conclusion that I just like, don't like it that much because I'm just taking so long to read it. Sometimes like that's not always the case where like that's the reason I'm taking so long is I don't like it, but in this case I think it is because I'm not sucked into the story enough. I did leave the book in my car. I'm trying to read it on Libby, which is like the free library app. Yeah, we'll see if this works. I could just go out to my car, but I don't know, I really just don't want to. Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy ending. There was so many plot twists just now, like thrown so casually into like a paragraph. That was a really good ending and it made me happy. I love a happy ending. That is great. Wow, that ending was so good. I'm so happy. I'm happy that I'm finished with it because I did just like want to finish the book really badly at that point. But also I love that ending and I feel like if I would have been more in the mood, maybe I would have read it all closer together and would have enjoyed it more. I'm not sure, but like the ending was very good. But yeah, that is the end of this video. It's crazy because this is like a cozy fall vlog. I don't even know what I'm going to title this, and it is still November. A sneak peek to my next video. I'm literally gonna start reading Christmas books tomorrow. So that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.